Before I start today's video, I would like to talk about our sponsor, Hamlin Hamlin McGill Texture Pack. The Hamlin Hamlin McGill Texture Pack is a texture pack made by me, or rather, Sniff Nor Darth Bathrobe on Steam. The Hamlin Hamlin McGill Texture Pack is available on Steam, and it changes many bosses and boss-related items. Now that we have the sponsorship out of the way, I guess I'll talk about the topic of the video, which is builds. So yeah, as you heard in the intro, I'm going to be talking about builds, which I built, and this was mostly just a test to see how good my building skills were. English. And yeah, I guess I'll show you what I've built. So the first build over here is a build that I took heavy inspiration from my house. Yeah, if you know where I live, which many of you won't, but I guess some of you will, this is what my house looks like, kind of, not really. So I decided to put a jungle-themed room over here and a mushroom-themed room over here. And I thought that was pretty clever because they both, if you contaminate the jungle blue, it turns into mushroom, which is, it's a thing. And then, so that is the forest pylon. And yeah, all of these builds are going to be pylon builds, and yeah, that's really just it. Oh, except for the next build, which is a direct contradiction. It's the boss relic thing, and so yeah, that's just a bunch of boss relics that I have. Built on giant pillars. I kind of stole this off the internet. I stole a few things off the internet, but I tried to stay mostly original. This was clearly original. It's not my best build, but I kind of like it. I like this railing I put up here using columns, marble columns, and then hammering a platform over that. I like this pillar that I built here, which is made out of pillar statue that I stretched using T-Edit. I use T-Edit for a lot of these things. And I guess I will be reviewing the builds in the order which you would normally build them in a normal survival world. Oh, I killed my 100th bunny. Except for this build over here, which I also kind of stole off the internet, but I built it. It was tedious to build. And yeah, it's just a bunch of banners. Oh wow. Yeah, that's all the banners I have. And then some trophies and other stuff. I would like to say that these trophies are going to be changed in future Hamlin Hamlin McGill Texture Pack updates, so be there for that. So I guess I will use the pylons to go over to the next build, which is the Desert Pylon. I must confess, I also did steal this one. Well, yeah, I pretty much stole this one off the internet too. It's, but I did build this meticulously by hand. And I did a few tweaks, like these background walls now have more variety, and this waterfall trickles down a bit better. This is a bit wider because I felt that other one was a bit so, yeah, this is this, and that is that. Oh, I guess I'll talk about a technique I used for the walls, which, for walls, generally, what I like to do is I like to make them too thick, but I guess I didn't do that here. But for the background walls, what I do is I have, like, things outlining or being on top of another thing, like you see. These kind of go along the top there, and those are vertically going across there. Yeah, you know what I mean. And sometimes you just punch walls into walls, kind of randomly. And yeah, So, personally, what do I build after I make a desert pylon? Well, obviously, I make a snow pylon, which is the next pylon. And the snow pylon is... I decided to make it a volcano, which is funny because it's a volcano in an ice biome, and lava usually melts ice. But anyway, up here I have a tent made out of cloud. That's it. And then there's a few tunnels here that lava would normally come out of. I have the pylon up here on icy block. I have this big robot that I built from my mind, the inner machinations of my mind. And then here we have kind of a research laboratory area base that people research at to study like the magical properties of this lava and how it doesn't melt the ice. And though technically they should be studying the ice to see how it doesn't melt because of the lava. Anyway, I guess this. I kind of took inspiration from Chaos and how he built his thing. I'll probably link the video in the description. The video I'm talking about where he said how to build this. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. And, what's the next pylon you'd build in the world? I'm gonna say jungle. Alright, the jungle pylon is up next. And, yep, this is it. Just I mean, what's this waterfall here? I guess it can't be hiding anything, so I'll just go on top. Unless maybe the waterfall is hiding something because there's a bridge. So you go through the waterfall, and normally when you're zoomed out, it just looks like, oh yeah, that's a big... But so, yeah, there's a waterfall, and then we have some background walls here. And this is probably my favorite build out of all the ones I've done, is the jungle one. Because this one is, other than this, which I also stole from Chaos, well, stole with quotations from Chaos. And there's, but the rest of this is completely original. I carved this big area out using T-Edit, and then I built a waterfall on my own. And then I built all the houses on my own, and I've got to say, I'm really proud of the houses. And there's a spiral staircase made out of just like kind of loose stuff. And then you have some crates. There's some people here, and yeah, it's made of mostly rich mahogany walls and roofs. And there's a leaf thing, like leaf roofs on top. I kind of like that. And the reason that this is probably my favorite build is because it came out exactly how I had pictured it in my mind. Like most of the other builds, I deviate from the original plan because it's either too much work or I like another idea better. But this one came out perfectly, and it's honestly my favorite. And also the waterfall too. So what'd you build next? What's the pylon you'd build next? I'm gonna say the ocean pylon. And yep, this is the ocean pylon I have over here. It's a big cruise ship for part of it. And if it's daytime, this looks better. Because during day, you can see that all of this is kind of lit up here, but under the water, it's not lit up. You see, that's lighting. And yeah, this isn't one of my best, again, because it's I'm not really good at building vehicles, which, yeah, I guess this, I kind of like the rooms because, and that room up there, because they're rooms. What are you supposed to say? And I guess that's a hoik. I did not mean for that to be a hoik. But, so, there's some smokestacks and some other stuff. It's pretty cool. And then I have a core. Oh, I used Gedit to copy this from the 10-year anniversary world. So I basically just copied this entire beach that you can see here. And that's why it's blue, because, I mean, I liked it when it's blue. And there's also another world gen thing that I'll point out later on. But there's this coral reef here. I guess I'll have to fix some of those water patches. I'll do that later, don't worry. But there's a coral reef here that kind of glows. You know, I, again, took inspiration from Chaos here, and, well, for the coral reef, not for this, and the stuff that I'll show in the ocean later. But he said that he likes to have the entire ocean be lit up and have zero shading. I completely disagree with that. As a builder, I would like to put in my advice and say, I like having shadows in an ocean to, I don't know, it just looks better in my opinion. And so here's another ruined area. I feel like ruined things automatically look better just because they're ruined. And, yeah, it's mostly made out of dungeon brick and stuff and dungeon furniture. And then there's, I do like the roof. I wish I could have detailed it more, but unfortunately I can't. But yeah, that's a nice, neat little roof there. And then there's, like, a wall that's knocked out. It's bleeding some light in. I don't know why I didn't put any under the window. Let's just ignore that. And there's some more coral reef over here. So that's all I have to say about the ocean pylon. Just kidding. Haha. Got you. I fooled you. There's more. There's like a little ocean pylon. No, ocean path here. This little underground area that I've always liked it, but this one is enhanced even better because in the Celebration Mark 10 world, this was originally like a living wood tree that just generated at the end of here, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is perfect. Having this be at the end of that the tunnel, you know. So I just made it out of sandstone, and then I decorated it up with some generic fishing stuff. And this one isn't the best. I feel like I might spruce it up later. But right now, that is great. It's great. I like it. Just like the general aesthetic is cool. And I have some coral torches to light up this area, this little tunnel. And there's nothing in the chest. I guess there used to be, but I looted it. And that's all. What? Why am I falling? I guess I'll explore this little cave here that looks very man-made. This is the Abyss, which has music added in through editing. I mean, the Hamlin Hamlin McGill Texture pack, not editing. Well, it isn't currently added in, but I will add it in later. And so, speaking of Calamity Abyss, here is, I decided I'd build a crab, which is inspired partially by Crabulon, but mostly by Tamatoa from the movie Moana. And that's why you can see I put illuminant paint over all this, so that it seemed bioluminescent, because this is the Abyss. And so I guess that's not what I meant to do. I guess I'll keep going down a bit further. And speaking of bioluminescence, here is a giant squid, or more accurately, the colossal squid from Terraria. I decided to do some pixel art and to paint it with illuminant so it was more bioluminescent. But it honestly looks better on the map, like this. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. But one minor problem I have is that it's made of mostly coral sand, which, as you can see there, turned it into a Hallowed Pylon, so it changed the water. But I was able to hide it away using a cleverly hidden water fountain. Why isn't that painted later? probably not. But just under that a little is, what's this? This looks like maybe a ship, possibly? Maybe. Potentially. That's right, it's the Titanic. And yes, again, I stole this Titanic from another person on the internet. But I really liked it, so I hopped into T-Edit, chopped it up into 2 pieces. This is the back part, and then the other half is down here. So I chopped it up, split it into 2 pieces, painted it all teal, filled it up with water, placed some of these vines around, and then just went into the world and just punched as many holes, threw as many bombs as I could to make it look as beat up as possible. And that's what I imagine the little scars here and the missing tentacle on the squid come from, is because the Titanic hit it on the way down. So, I guess that's all I have to show from the ocean pylon. For real this time. So I guess I'll go over to the next and the last pre-hard mode pylon, which is the Cavern Pylon. Now, originally the Cavern Pylon was going to be the Smog's lair from The Hobbit, which you can see down here. But I just couldn't really figure out how I would be able to do that. So I decided to change it to a missile silo, which I really like the missile silo. And yep, it's a missile silo with a big missile in the middle. There's if you activate the 2-second or a half-second timer, you can see flashing lights. And then there's a bunch of canisters here, made out of tin that was painted gray for the most part. I have this room for the NPCs I decided to have here were the Demolitionist, the Mechanic, and the Goblin Tinkerer, because I feel like they'd be perfect candidates for the U.S. government/military to take into an area to build something. And so this is just a generic research room with a big TV on top. This is like a portal room where you would have like it would shoot portals, and they test portals, and they're anti-portal blocks, a teleporter, a pylon. Now, I'd like to have some grievance with teleporters. I don't like that they can be hammered. Like, conceptually, it's fine. I don't really care about it at all too much, but it bothers me that you can hammer the teleporter, which is a piece of furniture, and you can't hammer any other furniture. Either make it all hammerable, or make the teleporter not hammerable. So up here is like a Martian studying area, and you have a Martian trophy up there, a Martian not trophy, Martian, a Martian chest, Martian furniture, and then a scrap of Martian plating that they ended up using to make the giant missile in the middle there. And so, yeah, that's that. And then, another thing I want to talk about is my favorite form of building with stairs from now on. If you hammer stairs, like a certain amount of times, they look like a ladder, which you can then climb up with. And the most important part is you can fall down easily, but decide where you want to stop. You see, with these stairs over here, you fall through them one by one, but over here, you can hold down until you don't want to go. The only problem I have with this is that it's a hoik, which means that you can just like go zooming straight up and then you eventually have to do that, which it starts seizures, I guess. So, yeah, that's all I have to say, other than there are some, like, missile fuel canisters. That's an interesting thing. This is, like, a canister filled with something that they're studying. And here's some more Martian stuff. So, I should probably... So, I guess I will go on to the next area that you would normally build, which is the Hallowed Pylon, which is the first hard mode one. So, yeah, it's basically just a Hallowed Pylon. You have a building here, which is another white castle thing, which is what I built in my Terraria Legacy series, if you're keeping up with that. So that is that. That is all I have to say about this. Then I have another thing over here. It's a tavern keep build, and normally the top of this would be like painted brown or with like hay or something. But I decided, hey, why can't it just be like these leaves? And so that's what I did. Is I painted the tops of the thing with multicolored leaves, and it's just like a bar where people would go. Hi, Dale. And yeah, a bar where people will go. They'll be doing bar stuff. And so that's it. And I didn't mean to dash there, but that's a nice transition over to the final area, which is a nice tower for the wizard with a spiral staircase that I totally didn't leave incomplete. That is exactly what I wanted it to be. Yikes. You never realize how many mistakes you make while building until you start recording. I won't fix that though. I will, however, show you the next area and the penultimate area, which is the Mushroom Pylon. And so what I did is I grabbed a random mushroom biome area and just brought it to the surface because why not? So now we have a surface pylon biome, and there's a nice fishing area, and the fishing area made me think, hey, why not just make a beach house, but made using mushroom materials? And so that's what we have here, is a beach house using mushroom materials. It's, it just built a beach house and painted it blue and white. And then I used mostly mushroom furniture, and then I put some mushroom on top. I put the pylon in this little island in the middle because that just naturally generated, and I'm like, that's the perfect width for a pylon. So that's that, and I like this tree here that's just very short, that spawned underneath this little area, this little roof with the stuff, the wall on the back. So the other thing I built here was just a giant mushroom, giant mushroom, and I put in a bunch of mushroom furniture, an auto hammer, and the mushroom NPC. And so that is this, and this is that. There's a rope bridge over here. I was gonna build a house, but I decided not to. And there's a heart crystal there, and heart crystal up there too. So I thought those were nice, and yeah, I put a lot of mushrooms. It's just a lot of mushrooms. I did a lot of mushroom furniture and a lot of mushrooms. It's basically all mushroom themed, which is fitting because the Mushroom Pylon. Speaking of pylons, we're going to go to the last pylon, which is the Universal Pylon, which is normally the pylon you get last. So, yeah, this is... it's kind of like a space research area that But it's not just any space research area, it's a Doctor Who space research area. I kind of inspired it from personally, my favorite Doctor Who episodes, the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. So this was supposed to be that laboratory from that episode. Of course, I had to make it a bit smaller because I can't fit all of that onto this island, which I could have made bigger, but hey, let's face it, I'm lazy and I was in a rush to get this video out. So there's this other tower there. There was originally going to be big spikes, but I couldn't figure out how to do that and make it look natural, so I just... And by big spikes, I meant like mountains in the background made out of walls and actuated blocks. But I couldn't figure out how to do that and make it look natural. So, yeah, over here is the cafeteria, where we must feed you if you are hungry. And so, there's the control area up here, which is... I mean, this isn't really my best build, but... You know, I like it. It's good. And, over here is, a shattered window, which you will know from... If you watch Doctor Who, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but there's a part in the episode where that happens. And, the reason I put in a shattered window is just so that I could use this, method for... He's not supposed to be walking outside. That's weird. Now it's a... Now we change the music to something that's not spacey. Good job. And now you're walking outside. Now this doesn't feel like an apocalyptic black hole surviving planet anymore. Speaking of black holes, I was originally going to make a black hole, but I decided that, you know what, this monolith is good enough for me. And so, back to the shattered glass. One day I decided to put diamonds on the floor for some reason. It was actually while I was trying to make the Cavern Pylon, because it'd be like a rock they'd be studying. But I realized I couldn't place it on a table, so I tried placing it on the floor. And then I realized it looked a lot like shattered glass. So, that's the story. But, and there's also a wall here that you can't pass, so that the entire area doesn't get flooded with oxygen, which I guess YouTube proved wrong. I mean, it's not like oxygen exists in Terraria. Anyway, over here, there is the TARDIS, which I'm actually kind of proud of. I made it in maybe like 3 minutes, and out of improvised material, and it was super small. But I really like it for what it was. It's basically just deep blue, rich mahogany with a bubble block there. Oh, and the sign that says, "Please telephone, free for use of public. Advice and assistance obtainable immediately. Officer and press respond to all calls. Hold open." I would have centered all the text, but you can't, like, move that little bar anywhere, which I don't like. That's a bad idea. Oh, and the actual island/planet up here itself is made out of black painted fossil, and at the bottom it's kind of spiky. And I figured, hey, that's pretty fitting for the Satan Pit and the Impossible Planet. So that's it. That's all my builds. That is the entire area, planet thing that I have.